Good afternoon. Happy Saturday, Keepers of the Cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and we are here with Savage Saturday Comic Review, episode 75. And we are going with a key issue today, and we're going with a great issue. Alright, we have Conan the Barbarian, issue 84, the first appearance of Zula. Now, you're looking on there, and I'm sure some of you are going, but Zula's a guy on this cover. But Zula was Grace Jones. A woman in the Conan the Destroyer movie. And they just changed the gender of the character. It made no difference in the movie. Grace Jones did a great job. But in the comics, Zula is a Dafarian swordsman and a little bit of a sorcerer too. And he uses some magic, which other people, some science, which he knows other people perceive as magic. So he's got a couple different levels to him that he can do besides just fighting. And as they're touting on the cover, in this issue, Big John Buscema returns as artist of Comicdom's most honored mag. So, a lot going for this issue. You got the return of John Buscema. Inside, you have Ernie Chan inking him. You have a story by Roy Thomas, 2 Against the Hawk City, and the introduction of a new character, and plots aplenty afoot. But let's get into it. This is a multi-part Savage Saturday. This is part 1 today. There'll be a part 2 next week, continuing this storyline. So we open up, and we got Conan returning to the Hawk City, coming in to look for his love, Bailey. He's been away from her a few weeks, and his travails have finally brought him back, and he's hoping to reunite with her. So once he gets there, he goes into this temple to meet Marath, and Marath is performing some spiritual rites from the god of hawks, and Conan doesn't want to be rude and interrupt. After all, him and Bailey helped this guy become king and overthrow a tyrant there. But Conan interrupts, and he asks where Bailey is, that she wasn't in her chamber, and that's when Marath said he had a vision, he had a dream, and the dreams given to you from the gods are always true, and that's what he believes. And he says, I saw a vision, and he's talking to his wife, Nephthah, a vision of destruction and death of which I was the cause. And she says, impossible, you're the gentlest man I know, although other circumstances are going to dictate otherwise, right? He said he saw the city in flames, a voice mocking him, and it's because he gave succor to Bailey, pirate queen of the Black Coast, so he can't bring himself to kill her, even though she's there by himself, but he surrounds her with everyone, and is going to enslave her and keep her as a prisoner for the rest of her life. Bailey, of course, doesn't take to that news very kindly, and as she is wont, she goes savage, and she is just kicking all their asses and chewing bubblegum, taking names, and she's all out of bubblegum, and she is just destroying these guys, and she makes her escape. Now, once telling this tale, Marath tells Conan that Bailey made away with his wife. That way, they wouldn't shoot her in the back with arrows. And she's gone. And she wants to go. She's on her own mission, just like Conan was. She's on a mission. And she's going to Luxor. She's got to free her father, her royal father, from a tyrant who's holding him captive. Alright, so you got Marath, and his wife Nephthah is with Bailey, and she's not letting her go till her mission's complete. But now Marath wants to keep Conan in chains as a slave in the dungeons to guarantee Bailey's return so he can exact vengeance on her. So this guy who views himself as this peaceful man is no longer so peaceful. But Conan doesn't take to the news of being held captive well either, and he starts fighting his way out. But they were expecting him, and as he's making his way out, he has a net thrown over him, but they still aren't able to hold him. And that's when he runs into a slaver outside who has Zula chained up, and Zula takes an opportunistic moment and jumps forward and knocks Conan unconscious while he's trapped in a net. Conan comes to, and he knows exactly who laid him low right away while he was helpless. And he has no idea why. He knows he wants revenge. Alright, so Conan is locked up in a cell and soon discovers that he is sharing that cell with Zula. And Zula says, look, I meant nothing towards you. They were gonna, if I didn't do what I did, your life would be forfeit. They would have put spears in your back on your way out. I saved your life. He goes, but I am on my way back to where I'm from, and let's see, he's on his way back to where he's from. But before he could tell Conan what the plan is and what's going on, the plot shifts back over to Belit and Nephthah, and they are entering a temple of Set. And Nephthah knows passageways in that Belit does not, because she was a slave there. So all the slaves always end up finding and knowing unknown and kind of hidden passages. And she says she wished she didn't know them. They sneak in, and they both freeze in horror for a moment, for there's a great serpent coiled on the floor, which doesn't awaken. But they approach the snake idol of Set, and Nephthah starts praying for them to find their way through. And both the women pass out at the idol. And then two snakes are slithering into an unknown entrance there in the floor. You don't know if it's the consciousness of Belit and Nephthah in those snakes, but it kind of implies it. So they are going someplace to try to find her father through the snakes. Now, once we get back to Conan and Zula, Conan's like, my name is Zula, and you have one. And he's like, I have no name to give you, for it's your fault I'm here. And if these chains were a bit longer, you wouldn't live long enough to learn my name. But Zula is kind of cooling Conan's temper. He's like, I knew we would end up getting chained together because I was already destined to be chained in here. And he asked Conan if he's ever heard of a place called Keshetta, the city of magicians, which is where he's from. And Conan has been there, and he slew a guy named Tororo. And Zula knows of this guy, and he said he was cast out for not knowing more juju spells. So he was telling Conan, well, he was a slave in Keshetta, and he still has some business back there. And he's got to overthrow someone and get some revenge. And he asked Conan if he can free him, if Conan will join him in the mission. And Conan's like, well, what choice do I have? Yes, I'll give you my word. And Zula knows about Sumerians and that their word is gold. And he pulls out this vial he had hidden on himself. We'll give you a good look at those pages. And it's some sort of acid inside which melts the chains which Conan's never seen. And he calls it magic. And Zula just politely informs Conan that it's science, but science that one man knows and another man doesn't is sometimes called magic. So they have themselves free of the manacles, and they're about to take off. They run a little thing on the guards there. Zula starts calling out that the Sumerian's going to kill him. The guards think they left too much length on his chain, and when they go in, they are quickly taken out, the two guards, by Zula and Conan, who then go out and start slaying the people that are in the guard room next to them. And then they make their way up the tower, because this is called the City of Hawks, and people ride these giant hawks. And they make their way to the top, and Zula is trained on how to ride the hawks. Conan is not, but he's got to follow Zula's instructions. So they mount the hawks, and they take off to the air on their way to Keshetta. And as they're leaving, Merath comes out. He's like, capture them alive, but it's too late and they escape, and he tells them not to arrow them down. He goes, no, at least they fly toward the city of magicians rather than Luxor. The wizards there will deal with them and spare me bloody hands. So we are in for a hell of an issue next issue when they reach the city of magicians, and we're going to see what's so important to Zula there that he needed to enlist Conan's aid. And we'll get more of the mystery of what's going on with Belit and Nephthah. And the last thing we see is Conan and Zula making their way off on the giant falcons. And you got Conan going, Zula, and he's like, please, barbarian, just be still for a moment, will you? I just recalled the one thing I forgot in my plan. And Conan's like, what's that? He goes, I think I'm going to be airsick. So, little joke at the end, giving us a little levity. And next issue, we have Kershada or Luxor. And so we're in for quite the treat next week. But that's another Savage Saturday comic review for a week from now. But that's it for this week, guys. I thought this was a great issue, setting up the friendship of two barbarians from two far different lands, each with a little bit of a different skill set, who become fast allies. They're already on a mission together. And you have Conan's lover, Belit, on a mission of her own. And you got to wonder how they all come back together. And lots going to happen next issue. It's going to be a lot of fun. A+ all around in this issue. You have three great talents. The three talents that made Conan as great as he is. And you got Roy Thomas, John Buscema, Ernie Chan. Three of the greats that worked on this character. You cannot go wrong with this issue. But that's it for now, guys. Until next time, keep it casual.